I'd organised this ring, and I remember these ducks swimming past us, and I am sweating and freaking out, and I'm like, oh, look how those ducks love each other. And I'm basically sitting there going, what the hell are you talking about?
He said, do you know that ducks are the only monogamous animals in the animal kingdom? And
Did you
here are
really?
some ducks. Look at the ducks.
Hello and welcome to Separate Bathrooms. We would like to acknowledge the Gadigal People of the Eora Nation, the traditional custodians of this land, and pay our respects to the elders both past and present. My name's Daddo.
My name's Cameron Daddo.
This is Separate Bathrooms.
We're married. And we have separate bathrooms.
Yeah, we do at the moment.
Yeah,
True.
It's working. Working for you?
Yeah, it works.
I mean, that was the idea. When we started the podcast, it was called Separate Bathrooms and Other Handy Marriage Tips.
Yeah. Well, we have separate bathrooms now because the kids have all moved out. Well,
So
two
we
of
can.
them, so we can have more space a little bit.
Yeah. Today, we have a chat for the lifestyle fashionistas among you. Those of you who grew up devouring magazines like Cosmo, Madison, Cleo, with all those lifestyle tips, tricks and recipes, you're in for a treat.
We've got a couple sitting out in the living room who know what it takes to be in a long-term relationship. So we'll get some detail on how they manage theirs.
Paula Joye is a magazine editor turned digital creator. She's an expert on style, beauty, interiors, travel, and throwing a party that you can invite a Kennedy to or a Kardashian to, probably.
Yep, maybe. Yeah. She was the fashion editor and, look, an editor for all of our favourite magazines, and she's written a book titled The Glow Up. The Glow Up cuts through the BS, empowering you to glow at any age and stage with 6 simple steps to the best skin of your life.
Saxon is her husband. He is a food innovator fascinated by the application of new technologies and the adventure of finding creative solutions within them. There's got to be something in that. Right?
Absolutely.
They are passionate parents. They are passionate people. Let's meet Paula and Saxon. Welcome, Paula and Saxon, to the bathroom.
We're so excited to be here.
That's so nice. We should get Paula to sort of decorate it better for us, don't you think?
Well, we
she's a
can get her
stylist.
tips. Yeah.
Yeah.
Saxon,
Pretty
this
bougie
is
bathroom.
yeah. We've kind of blocked out the echo too, you know.
Yeah. There's no flushing allowed.
No
either.
flushing allowed.
Bathroom.
Saxon, this is your first podcast, isn't it?
It sure is.
How you feeling?
With some trepidation, Cameron, I must say.
Mr. Joy is here in
Yeah.
this bathroom.
In the
with us.
house.
I love it.
He's getting
I
his
love it.
cherry popped as we speak. You feeling okay?
Yeah, sure. I will just strap myself in here and let's see how we go.
You're gonna
All
be
right,
great.
no worries.
It's all going to be good.
Well, listen, we are a relationship podcast. So how did you two meet? How did it happen?
You in a bar, like all the great love stories of the 90s, when you actually could go to a bar.
Yeah.
But listen, he was actually, we grew up sort of in Sydney in the same sort of area, and his name was on pencil cases at school. You know, it was like and because his name is like Saxon Joye, I'd never heard the name Saxon or Joy, and let alone together. So I sort of knew his name before I met the guy, which is kind of funny. It was like, you know, friends had crushes and whatever, but I never saw him. May as well have been the ghost that walked, the phantom. I'm like, who is this
The
guy?
man, the myth, the legend.
A little bit that. And then one day we're at a bar and he was sitting at the end of the bar and my girlfriend said to me, that is Saxon Joye. And I was like, well,
Now I get it.
that's what happened.
It is. That's
men.
embarrassing, but it's true. And, we've got slight different memories of it, but getting picked up in a bar is a great way to start a relationship, I reckon.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I did. I'd had just enough vodka to go think, I'm just going to go up to him. I was like 22 and I'm just going to go up and say, hi, well, I really should need to meet you because your name's been on pencil case.
On my pencil case.
And hello. And then he said, well, this means we have to have dinner. And I gave him my number and had the wherewithal to leave on that moment.
Nice. Classy.
And the rest is kind of history.
We just don't look, there's a whole lot of listeners out there going, why is this dude's name on a pencil case?
Why was your name on a pencil case?
Often on weekends, I'd break into schools and write my name on.
Saxon that. He was clearly the hot guy that all the girls wanted to date. That's why you get on a pencil case. I'm sure there was many a pencil case with your name on it too, honey.
I mean, hello.
Right?
Cameron.
You were on walls, babe.
You
on walls.
You were actually, you wallpapered the school, dude.
Okay.
So, you know.
And then someone goes, what happened?
No, you look exactly the same. I think there are listeners out there going, what's a pencil case?
Yeah,
That's true.
Oh, that's shocking, but you're right.
It's true. You know,
Pencil cases
I
and
love
backpacks.
Pencil cases.
And-
I still love
cases
them.
and pencils.
Yes.
But
The
it was a
smell
much
of them.
more innocent time,
Yeah,
right? It was just
totally.
you could actually, you met in the wild.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
often say that now, you know, we've been married 25 years this week, just this week gone.
Yes.
And I say one of the strengths, I think, and the luck that we had is that when we met, it was just Paula and Saxon.
Yes.
That's it. No
Yeah.
backstory, not even a last name. It's like, hi, I'm Saxon, hi, I'm Paula. And I think
Yeah.
that's something always that we kind of say, we've always got that.
Yep. A lucky thing without all the noise that sort of people are marinating in at the moment, I guess,
Yeah,
or
totally.
now.
Totally. What was your first impression, Saxon, of Paula?
Oh, it was gorgeous. So what I did, you know, quite deliberately, is I waited about a week to call her.
Okay.
Because I thought I've just got to make this happen. And these are back in the days where you had to ring and speak to the dad. And
Yes.
go, g'day, it's Saxon here. Run the gauntlet, if you would. But no, we were kind of smitten, and it was lovely.
And then my dad waited a week to tell me that he'd rung.
Oh,
My dad later on, and I kind of think that you must have said something to my dad, and eventually Dad caved about 7 days later. So this is I'm heading into like day 10 of no contact, and he went, "Some turkey with a weird name called and left his number for you," and I was like, "Who?" And he goes, "Joy." Saxon, so somebody with a anyway. It's
anyway, I got his name off a pencil case, and
Yeah.
Oh,
so-
my God. Dad nearly ruined it for you.
But Saxon, didn't you say
Oh, my gosh.
when you were talking to Paula's dad, is Paula there, or wasn't that
Yeah, I
the
would have
whole
gone
thing?
through all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
Yeah,
right.
Paula clearly wasn't there.
She wasn't home.
I was working.
She might have been.
I
You were
would-
working.
I was working full time then. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was.
Oh,
I
of
was at-
course you were.
I
You
was
were-
at Vogue.
yeah.
I was going to say you'd have been at Vogue
Yeah.
already.
Vogue.
Yeah.
You were
full
working
time.
for Vogue.
I was.
At 22.
I was. I know. For
Yeah.
my sins.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
did you go straight to you? Then you went straight to Cleo.
Yeah,
After
I
that,
had a
or
little
Cosmo?
bit of time at David Jones because David Jones used to shoot everything. So all of the advertising, everything was done from the store, in the store. So, you know,
Right.
you'd be shooting undie packs one day and then the catalogue for the store the next. So it was unbelievable training because you'd shoot like 5 days a week.
Yep.
So I didn't have long there. I had about 10 months there between magazines, and then I went to Cleo as beauty editor, and then that was, you know, I stayed at Park Street a long time.
Yes.
But yes, I was working. I was 9 to 5 and uni at night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I was busy.
What were you studying at uni?
I started at law, and then I realized when I got there I didn't want to do it. I was
Yeah.
like, oops. And so then I just chose a business degree. And, you know, ultimately that helped me later on when I was an editor, but it was just sort of very random. I was a nerd, though, at school. So it was sort of, my parents were great about me changing my mind and
Yeah.
wanting to go into magazines. But I sort of wasn't prepared to let go of study immediately anyway. And so I just chose a business degree.
When you said, did you say Park Street? Is that what you
Yes.
said? So was that's the building where all the magazines were?
Yes, 54 Park Street.
Yes.
You knew that, right?
Oh, yes. It
Is
was
that-
such an exciting building.
Is
to
that where
enter
Dolly
as a
was
model.
too?
Yeah.
So that's where I would have walked through the corridors down in a warehouse area down the bottom with Colette, seeing or through a thing and seeing
Do you mean-
photographs of you on the wall.
I don't think it was in a warehouse down the bottom, and you mean
What was it?
Carlotta?
Oh, what did I say, Colette?
Yeah.
Oh God.
And you know that I
Sorry,
met
I meant
Alison
Carlotta.
for the first time. I was Carlotta's work experience girl
No.
at Dolly when she was fashion editor.
Yes.
And I remember shooting you for Dolly, and I was her work experience girl. And I'm like, oh my God, that's
Alison Brahe.
Oh, that's how I was. There's just pictures on the wall. And I
Yeah.
said to Carlotta, I said, that's Alison Brahe. And she goes, do you know who she is? I said, yeah, it's Alison Brahe. She said, did you want to meet her? I went, yeah. And that's how it all happened.
Yeah.
Were you just
No.
standing in front of that picture just going, one day, one day.
I mean,
I had to push my brother away from it first.
There we go.
So how long before you knew this is the one? Like, was that pretty soon that you guys were like, this is it? We're for sure.
Yeah, it was pretty soon. there were a few little breaks in the road, we might say, pretty early.
It was immediate. I
yeah, it was
knew,
immediate, yeah.
and then he dumped
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, and I got a little bit of shame about that, actually, sort of latent shame that sort of sits around that.
You can
But,
get rid of that. You can heal that today.
Is this
good
about
thing.
healing?
Yeah, this is the healing moment.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll give you
I
our
need someone to
blessing.
take this
Yeah.
off my
And then you're
shoulders.
fine.
Ali's great at holding space like that.
It's true. It's just true, Saxon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe a
happened?
small break, and
Yeah.
then I was like, I've really stuffed this up, and I wrote to you.
This is true. This is a cool story, actually,
Okay.
because it was sort of pre-cell phones. I think we had like flip-top ones that had big, but you didn't take them out when you went out. Like,
Oh, the
they
brick,
were for
you mean?
business.
You're talking
Yeah.
about the brick.
But
Yeah.
after
More
brick, but-
Motorola, the
Oh, yeah.
flip open.
Yeah, I
thing.
know.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking
Analog
a bit cooler,
phones.
cooler
Yeah.
than the
So
brick.
Yeah.
he actually, the pub that we met in, I was there having a drink with a girlfriend, and the bartender came over and said, "Someone's on the phone for you." And he had tracked me down. He kept ringing this pub, and he was like, "It's me. Hi.
I'm the
And,
problem, it's me.
I'm the problem.
At
It's
tea
me."
I mean,
time.
imagine ringing a bar now and saying, "Is there a pretty blonde girl at the end of the bar? Can you put her on the phone?" I mean, that would just be like, "See ya."
They wouldn't answer. But anyway, he did that, and I just managed to be like, I said, "Listen, I don't know if I can see you. I'm here. Ring me at work. I'll see whether I can see you." I'd managed to do that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
And then he wrote me, "You can say."
Yeah,
You wrote
there
me a
was an
letter.
attractive frostiness on the phone that kind of, and then I wrote, sort of poured my heart out and wrote to you because I was hoping you'd spend a bit more time with me, which you did.
Realise
he
the error.
sent a letter to the officers of Mode magazine, which is now became Harper's Bazaar. And I went in, I was the editor's assistant or something, and I went into my editor and I'm like, "Here's a muffin, and can we workshop this?"
Yeah, right. that moment reading that letter, because there's nothing quite like where you think your heart's been broken and you think, oh, this is over, and then you realize that they've made, and then they come
Yeah.
back to you. Like, that must have felt really lovely. He's tracked you down at the bar. He's written you a handwritten letter.
Yes, I'm forever great. And I was heartbroken because I
Yeah.
was super sure.
You knew,
It was
yeah.
instant for me. I was like, when I went on the first date with him, it was like, I will go that's where I'm supposed to go. And
Yeah.
I was 100% sure about it. So it was very, I'm how lucky am I to get a letter? Because like all women, all men deserve that.
Yeah.
The effort, the time, the consideration. I mean, it
Yeah,
was very dramatic.
so true.
At the end of it, it was like, all I know is I'm 22, I have brown hair, I remember it. I have a blue watch, and I leave for Vietnam in May. Like the war, he was actually just going to Vietnam.
Going on a surfing trip with his pals.
Oh, yeah.
No, he moved there for a bit. He
Did you?
moved there for
Wow.
a bit. But and then he's like, "And I love you." And I was like, but I remember that now.
Yes.
And it was like sometimes grand gestures are necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To heal and to also just,
Do you still
romance
have
is
the
a
letter?
good thing. I
babe?
do.
I have the first letter Cam wrote to me as well. And it was
wrote a letter too.
yeah, and it was on a piece of paper from 2UE, so 2 UEs on the top of it, and you wrote about how you were having all these feelings for me that you'd never felt before, and it was really and it's so like folded and old that it's like it's almost falling apart, but I've still got it.
I'd love to see it.
Oh, I'll show
I
you.
don't have any recollection of
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's
Why
it's
would
really
it have been on
special.
2UE news?
Probably
don't
because
know.
you were made to be. You were probably on the rounds of everything.
Yeah.
You're sitting in a studio
Yeah.
like this, and Barbara's got you in
Yeah.
back to back
Yeah.
media, and you're thinking about this girl, and you just
I'm like,
grabbed her.
sorry, Alan Jones, I need to write a note to my wife.
I can see you saying that.
my
though.
girlfriend. My
You say,
girlfriend.
Alan, I need some silence.
Can
For
you
a minute.
stop talking for a moment?
It would have been that. It would have been, "Cameron, can I get you anything?" And you would have been like, "You know what? A piece of paper and a pen."
Yeah.
That's what it would have been.
I'm with you.
Saxon, tell us about the proposal. How did you go with that?
Oh gosh, you know what? I held off on the proposal for quite a long time because I guess I've got some great examples around me, and I've got some not so great examples around me, and then I just started thinking, I've been waiting years for this, and she's going to she'll realise the minute I ask her that she doesn't actually want to be with me, and she's going to split. So I organised this weekend down to Canberra, and we drove down. I thought,
exciting place.
That's why he did it.
City of Love.
It to like completely.
City of Love.
Yeah.
Canberra.
Yes.
City of Love.
He was like
offended.
He was
Oh, no,
like,
Canberra, listen.
I have to
love
make
Canberra.
sure she's got no idea because it was
Yes.
getting to the point where
So
if this isn't going to
Right.
happen,
Yeah.
and I was getting to the point where actually maybe I'm wrong and maybe I'm out of here. So he was like, I have to make it a surprise for her. Where can I take her that she will never think it will happen?
Yeah.
Was
And
it
by
That's
the way,
super
winter
smart.
time in Canberra?
yeah, I think it was around Floriade, and it was
Floriade's
actually,
beautiful, yeah.
and
Grand
I'm
final.
really, it was grand final day. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Yeah. So we'd gone out to dinner the night before. I'd organised, this ring, and we'd gone through
Lake Burley.
I was
Griffin.
sitting on Lake Burley Griffin, and I'm basically
I
I
mean-
am freaking out, going, bloody hell, she's gonna, all of these years we've been talking about this. Now she's gonna say no to me. And I remember these ducks swimming past us, and I am sweating and freaking out, and I'm like, oh, look how those ducks love each other. And I'm basically sitting there going, what the hell are you talking about?
He said, do you know that ducks are the only monogamous animals in the animal kingdom? And
Did you
here are
really?
some ducks. Look at the ducks.
Freaking out.
And then,
Channeling your inner David Attenborough.
what's going on? Like, what is going on? And I'd missed everything. I'd missed the special champagne that he'd put in them. Like, I just had missed it because I'm like, why am I in Canberra?
Yeah, we're going to see question time.
I love
That's
Canberra.
what you're doing.
I love Canberra. But
with ducks.
And then I'm like, and why is he sweating? And what's going
I'm
on?
actually
And-
sweating now just thinking about it. It's like taking me back there.
yeah.
But listen, I asked you, and you said yes, and
did.
that was pretty damn exciting.
Yeah, it was.
And
was.
did you choose the ring yourself? Did you have any help?
I
with that, or-
I did, and maybe that's a folly.
No.
But
You'd always choose it
I
yourself.
always
He'd
thought
always
cubic
do that.
zirconia was a fantastic, fantastic rock, but not everyone agrees. No, I'd had the ring, or I'd got the stone maybe 6 months before, and then just trying to get towards the right situation and getting the ring made, and so yeah, it was ready to go, and luckily I got a good positive response. So
Yeah, nice.
We were talking before about the magazines and things before we came on it. We started recording, and I asked everyone to stop talking and be quiet because I have this. We say
You're
these great
correct.
things when we're not recording. So anyway, here we are recording this. You were part of that magazine world when that was the rock star world, and you worked with the best, highest models,
Yes.
highest paid models, the best models
Yes.
in the world.
In the world, your wife included.
Exactly.
Yep.
What was that time like? And it's iconic
It
in
was,
the magazine world.
It was really, really, really iconic and special and just so dynamic and rarefied. Honestly, like we were all really hardworking, but it was a very creative time in this country. There was money to do creative things. And there was money to pay for the most creative people to all be together. So when you put all of that creativity funded around you, and it was change. It was coming out of the 80s into the 90s. There was money, there was brands, advertising was changing. It was, I launched 2 magazines from a blank page. I think I'm sure I'm the only editor in Australia that got to do that.
Yeah.
What a privilege. Make up a magazine.
What were
and I got
they?
to do it twice.
Which ones were they?
Shop to Drop and Madison, both that were
Okay.
both, really big successes.
Very
and,
successful. Yeah.
and I'm so lucky. And that was part of living, we were the biggest consumer of magazines per capita in the world, Australia.
Okay.
In its heyday. So that was one of the reasons that we were able to do things like launch magazines, because we had such a captive audience in
Yes.
this little island of ours.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. I mean, it's everything you think. I have been Anne Hathaway and Meryl Streep.
Yeah,
I have
right.
been both characters
Yeah.
in The Devil Wears Prada. I've been the assistant and I've been the boss. So I'm very lucky. It's a real privilege.
And there was just nothing. I mean, you just knew that every year not just every year, there was multiple years that you'd have the most incredible trips away. I mean, those trips away with Dolly, I did Greece.
Yeah.
There was Fiji, there was Bali. I mean, it was on, and it was just the norm.
Yes,
And-
you go away on beauty trips.
Yes, that's
even
right,
like
just for
we
beauty,
did. I did
yeah.
the swimsuit issue. I sort of created for Cleo, like Sports Illustrated, the swimsuit issue.
Yeah.
But they were grueling shoots too,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, of
like
course.
you're for the model for everybody. It was
Yeah.
up at 3 a.m. into makeup.
Yeah.
On the beach at 5:30. So, but we're very lucky to travel and do that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
so lucky and so young.
And dealing with egos too. I mean, because I remember in that, the photographers were like the gods. They were the kings. They were the rock stars.
Yes.
And then you've obviously got the models, the girls and the guys, and how all that went. How was that sort of massaging egos or dealing with those kind of things?
I think if you're a good leader, you can just sort of, I just think you have to just sort of convince people that it's their decision. That's what I really find with creatives. If you can manage to make them think that what you want is what they actually thought up, then you can generally get the job done. And oftentimes too, I'd just be like, if you get off the set, like with certain behaviour and certainly with some models and stuff, it would be just say, no, that's not acceptable, and, go home. And
There he goes.
yeah, see ya.
See ya.
See ya. But most times I found people to be really professional and really hardworking.
Yeah.
Like Aussies are hardworking. Overseas sometimes you had I saw some scenes, definitely, because it's crazy. Photographers have 7 assistants.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you're starting to get to that level.
And you don't ever get starstruck either. It's not your thing.
No, I never. Well, I did once with Ricky Martin.
Oh, yeah.
So badly.
Why do you
Because
think
I
that
really
was?
don't get starstruck because
Yeah.
I guess I've grown up around it, and I'm
Okay.
just like, mainly I'm in the assistant, or I'm there to make that person feel comfortable. So I
Yeah.
just haven't. But Ricky Martin, I lost it. I was sitting next to him at a dinner, and I just was like, I was like in Dirty Dancing, I carried a watermelon. I just was like, I love you.
Good reference.
No, I do. I love you.
He would have appreciated that.
Oh, it's
He would
bad.
have loved it.
Then the poor man had to sit
is
next
good.
to me for the whole night.
Okay.
It's terrible.
Saxon, how did you sort of cope with all that during that time?
Yeah, I think we both probably brought our own stories to the couch each night. And,
Yeah.
Is that a good way to put that?
No,
babe?
that's totally exactly right.
Always been sort of admiring of Paula's profession and the way she'd lead a big crew, and they were really big budgets, and hundreds of staff, and so it's pretty impressive. So I feel I've been very lucky in the businesses I've run to almost, mentor's not the right word for Paula to me, I guess, but just to be able to get great advice and throw some great ideas around. She's got a great idea or view on things. So very respectful of the intellectual horsepower, if we could put it that way.
Yeah, right.
That's a nice thing to say.
Can you explain your job? Because it's really unusual.
Yeah. So
It seems to me anyway, but really interesting and it's fascinating.
I'm in a sort of niche in the food market. I've done some kind of interesting
You're a bit of
things.
like a mad food scientist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been, I guess, pretty lucky and I'm absolutely consider myself a foodie, and we love cooking together and trying, fabulous things, and we do like the occasional wine as well, which is
Occasional.
well, I was going to put any
How good is
numbers
wine?
around
Oh,
that.
so
Let's not-
good. Wine's like great. You're an entrepreneur is what you are.
Yeah.
You've got he's got a drawer of ideas that is like constantly being opened, and like if it's like I had $1 for every idea. But it's hard to sort of, you say it.
Well, I guess what I'm doing at the moment, which I've been doing for 4 or 5 years, is an old mate of mine from school's father had a stroke, and he basically, it's called dysphagia, but people wake up and they can never drink a glass of water again. They can never have a wine. They can never eat a steak or eat an apple. So they need.
Why?
The kid in the throat doesn't work well. So what happens is people end up with food in their lungs,
and
Yeah.
which can lead to pneumonia and circling in and out of hospital. So what we alter the texture of food so that the throat can grip the food and take it to the stomach rather than it ending up in the lungs. And generally these are people that have had difficult sets of cards. So it could be because of an event like stroke. It could be old age, but we look after young girls that have had
gastric banding or jaw surgery.
Cerebral
or
Is this
palsy.
cerebral
because they
palsy
lose
in
sensitivity?
kids?
They lose the I guess
It's
for want of
more
a better
like
word, a twitch.
think of it like
or
a
something in the neck.
leaky diaphragm in the throat, so you don't actually grab the food and take it into the stomach. So
And the food was disgusting in that area.
that
So, like
space,
for an example, in aged care, it'd be they'd get an old meat pie from 3 days ago and blend it and give it to the person and say, "Here's your food." So when his business partner's dad had the stroke, it was like. There's the food, it's just disgusting.
Yeah.
There's a market here, and that's
Yeah.
one of Saxon's things is nutritious, no preservatives, using this technology.
no gums or thickeners, all
Yeah.
the things that
clever.
people make food safe with, but they're not nutritious if you don't eat them. It's horrible food. So we just wanted to do beautiful foods for people.
Yeah.
Whether you're really healthy and you can run around, or whether you're in a wheelchair, like everyone should have it's a human right to just be able to eat good food. It's pureed food, so there's a real ick factor around that. But when we get beyond that, we're using beautiful natural foods without any crap in them, and that's Little Care Food Co. And we're really proud of it. Yes.
That's amazing. So it's
you.
also because it's blended, they're not able to chew their food. Is that what happens, or they're not chewing their food enough, and it just won't pass?
There can be sort of dental issues, but it's not so much about chewing, as in it's the piece of kit in the throat that when you swallow.
Yeah.
And by the way, we're talking about 1 million Aussies on soft food diets, so this is
Wow,
actually
that's a lot.
it's a really unsexy problem, but there is a lot of
Yeah.
Aussies who really need a sort of assistance with swallowing. So. It's the kid in the throat. So generally, if you have problems either breathing or talking, you can often have problems swallowing. So
Yeah. And
but
it's
imagine
also-
waking up and not being able to have a glass of wine. I mean, it's kind of frightening. So we're
it's-
working on that problem now.
And it's hard for the carer as well. So that's
Yeah.
one of the things with this food is it actually makes it easy for the person that's doing the caring
Yeah,
as
gotcha.
well. So, but he invented the first raw milk. Australia was
reading about
Australia
that.
were the first. Well, Australia was the country that invented it, and it was his invention. So he's always looking for a something in food that's different, and you're very clever like that.
So what
So
was it
interesting.
about raw milk? Why would you even conceive doing that?
There was it's a kind of
Exactly.
because raw milk's inherently if you've got a cow in your let's just assume that you drink milk. If you've got a cow in your backyard, there's just nothing better. It's just got this abundance of nutrition that's just so healthy for you. But as we moved away from the farm and into the city, raw milk has a whole lot of microbial issues with it. I mean, it's basically a dairy where you can pick up all sorts of pathogenic material that can make you sick. So if you're not drinking that milk fresh, you're asking too much of the milk. So, so effectively, we came up with heat pasteurization, which will give you a clean bill of health on a whole lot of foods, including milk. But
Kills
any
all
of
the good stuff.
it can kill some of the good stuff. The heat sensitive good stuff can be killed. So I used a technology called cold pasteurization effectively pasteurize without using any heat, so it leaves all the good stuff in. This is beautiful milk, and was really lucky to be part of a great team on that project actually.
Yeah.
So
Is it still happening now?
Made by cow. Yeah.
yes,
It's good.
yeah, it's actually it's. We've sort of long since out of it, but wish it well. And it's been around for about 7 years.
Yeah.
It was actually everywhere a year or so ago. I think they had a few issues. I think it's just coming back into the market as we speak.
Okay. Here's a question for you. So knowing what you know then about food, what is there foods that you will not touch?
Yes.
We love all sorts of things. What's
Come on.
what's on your
There are
mind?
things like canned soup, for instance.
Oh,
I mean, he
gosh.
left a date once, before me, because the poor girl went to heat up canned soup, and he actually then would
that's
say,
so elitist. I mean, it does sound like the greatest wanker, but yeah, I was like, I can't do this. I can't be in this relationship. I'm sorry.
It's a red flag.
It's got to be right for you.
Canned
Some people
soup
love
with your
canned
red-
soup.
"Yeah, no, but
But,
there are
hey,
certain things you don't
It's,
like."
when it comes out and it looks like Pal.
Yeah,
When
Yes.
it's sort of
do.
sitting there wobbling. I'm like, oh, so you're going to use the can opener to make
I don't
dinner?
know. Sunday afternoon with a piece of sourdough toast. Pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Like, that's the beauty of food, you know what?
Yeah.
You like what you like.
You like what you like,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
It's true.
But we love
You don't like
oysters,
anything
we
too
love-
processed. You
No,
don't like
no.
anything too processed. So he's like, will be annoying on sort of the flip side of it. He likes to shuck oysters himself.
Oh,
so now
yeah.
we can't have an oyster at a restaurant because he's not convinced that it has been shucked right there and then, and also he hasn't done it. So it's more stuff like that. He'll like reverse engineer a food situation to the point where I'm locked into it. You cannot send him to a butcher or a fish shop because he'll come back with, I just thought, it's dinner and there'll be like a whole pig in the back garden, which I'm just going to rotisserie, or he'll come back and say, I couldn't help it. And, there's like just enough to feed 70. So,
I do like to travel with a slicer.
oh, yeah, we got a deli slicer, like the kitchen bench. It's like a professional deep fry. I mean, it's a deli. It's like his Saxon's Deli is there in the kitchen. I mean, look, I'm not complaining. It's lovely. It's a bit ugly at times, but it is delicious.
I love it. Paula, you've written about your big family and that you're one of 4 siblings, and there's a real through line that you have, and it's manners, kindness, compassion, and respect.
Aww.
How does that play itself out within your marriage?
I think that they probably are pillars. The only other one that I would probably put in there is trust, which I think we've done a pretty good. It's always been a pretty sort of solid deal breaker for us. Nothing's not true if I don't tell him.
Yeah.
He's sort of my person as well. Like something real can have happened, and if I don't tell him, then I can sort of pretend that it didn't. I like to be kind. I like to compliment people. I like to stay connected to the world. I think there's so much, people with their heads down. I like to talk to young people. I always stop and talk to old people. I don't know. How have I not really answered that question? I try to be
It's a lovely
compassionate.
answer.
I try to respect you. I think that they probably sum us up, don't they? Do they?
And with your daughters, is that something that you've made a huge effort to instill in them, or do you think that by osmosis your daughters have picked up on the same values?
No, I think you have definitely manners in particular. My mother was my mum used to say, manners are if you want to live an international life, then you have to have manners, because manners will open any door in any room in any country.
Right.
And then the rest is up to you. But manners actually are a currency, and if you want to be anywhere, manners will help you do that. And I think more and more they really help people stand out. And I think that they're a discipline.
Yep.
And I think that that's a really good thing too, to be disciplined about thank you, yes. I mean, it takes an extra minute, but you have to discipline yourself to not just walk past someone. You have to discipline yourself to stand to the side when people are on a sidewalk, or to pull over in a car, or God forbid, wave thank you when someone lets you in. It's all discipline. And I think that we've definitely instilled that in them, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it's probably heading into more of a habit than that. But yeah, of course it's a discipline. But yeah, we, in a world where everyone's rushing and there are no manners, it's lovely when someone takes the time to, just give you a smile or a wave.
Absolutely.
Whatever
Especially in
Paula
the
said.
younger generation.
Yeah.
Like we are sticklers on manners at our house as well. And our youngest came home the other day and she's like, Mum, I just got to tell you that all of my friends' parents love me. And I was like, oh, what? And I'm like, of course they do, honey. I'm like, why? She goes, because I'm the only one that says thank you for having me. And I talk to the parents and I clean up after myself if they give me dinner. And they just look at me and go, you can come around anytime. And she goes, and you and Dad taught me that. Thank you so much. I was like, yes.
But you said that, and that's
Bravo.
what my mum meant.
Yes.
She's there having an adult conversation with adults, looking them in the eye, being confident because she's got the backup of manners, knowing me going in and saying thank you very much, and she's been taught that, and that is what the opening door thing is.
That's so true.
It is.
It's a really good way of thinking about it. Yeah.
When you go to different cultures, do you make an effort to learn the culture or the manners of the culture going into it?
Yes. I
Because
mean,
it changes between cultures.
totally. And listen, we're very like, we'll be like on a Sunday, we're going to go and have Vietnamese food and we're going to the Kimball. We are not, we're just going down the road because he is, sort of so foodie. And my mother was always like, turn down every road. So we're big on like getting in a car and doing that kind of thing. And yes, always when you're away, get out, see
Opens
it,
a lot of doors,
meet
doesn't it?
people. Yeah. We're all he's very, we probably both love curiosity and charisma the most in people. Like kindness, curiosity, charisma are the things that I prize in other humans.
I'd love to say the 3 C's, but I think there's a K.
We can Kardashian it.
Yes, some charisma.
We can do that.
That's true. That's true.
Were you brought up with manners? Were your parents
absolutely.
were they sticklers for that too?
Yeah, I think we, like as a 70s kid, probably a little bit more sort of seen and not heard type of childhood, but absolutely manners. You say your daughter has these I guess parents of friends saying, "Oh, she's lovely and whatnot." But she's learnt that from you guys, and that's so important to give that to your kids. And generally, you get it from your parents, and if you don't get it, it's one of those what you don't know scenarios, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
How is being you're a husband and a father, we're surrounded by women at home. How has that influenced you in your life?
I'm probably more comfortable with women than I'm with men, I'd say. So I was really hoping that we'd have daughters, and we did. So I was like, yes.
Oh, that's so lovely.
So I just feel kind of lucky to be, one of the chicks.
You love your brother. Like you're like,
absolutely. Of course I do.
It's funny because you're so blokey in a lot of ways. You love your male energy, but he's a good feminist.
Definitely.
A good feminist. Yes, we love a good feminist.
Paula, the book, The Glow Up.
Oh yes.
Tell us just a little bit about that. And what do you hope for it?
Well, I'm so proud of myself for doing it. Speaking of discipline, when they asked me to do it, I was just like, it doesn't actually matter. I'm not even going to ask any questions. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
I've always been really passionate about good skin. I feel it's what gives men too, confidence. And I think confidence is your best accessory. I think it's confusing. I think it can be expensive. And I just wanted to make it simple and accessible for people. And it's got bits of my life and stories of my life. There are swear words in it. I have tried to write it in a very funny me manner, and it's been received well, and I'm grateful.
Been received well.
I'm grateful.
Yeah,
I'm really
absolutely.
grateful.
Well, you've lived an incredible life thus far, and the journey continues.
Thank you.
And
I feel lucky.
Yeah.
We're lucky. The 4 of us in this room are lucky.
Yeah, indeed.
No question about it. We do a thing called the 2-minute shower here. So, welcome in the bathroom. Let's step into the shower. It goes for 2 minutes. We keep our answers short, and we'd like you both to answer the question.
Cool.
The same. We're both answering.
You both well, you have your own answers.
That's really putting us on the
Exactly.
spot.
Yeah, it is. Elle, you fire
okay,
away.
Sure. What habit does your partner have that you find adorable?
He sort of doesn't like anything open, doors, cupboards, anything like that. But the way he does it is sort of very endearing and cute. It's not weird. I like that.
Oh, you think it's weird? Come on.
Not as weird, not weird like the
body
pigs.
parts. Like
I don't know. That's yeah. For me, it's probably we get. Is this endearing or weird?
I don't know. So,
Okay, what's happening in our house
Endearing.
at the moment is too much bloody Taylor Swift. Way too much. It's just constant. And I'm
you've
like,
just divided our audience. There's a whole lot of
Listen,
people
I'm
going, yeah, that's weird. And others are going, oh, that's blasphemous.
love Taylor. Just there are other artists. That's all.
Really?
That's my qualification.
we are a Swiftie family ourselves, I have to say.
I've said this before, but if I'm on an aeroplane and I'm hitting turbulence, I put Tay-Tay on.
Me too.
My shoulders just go, oh,
Me too.
just relax.
Yeah.
So she gets me through turbulence.
Good
Yeah.
work.
If you could relive one day with each other, what would it be?
That's so...
Oh, our wedding day. That was pretty spectacular.
It was a great day. Probably that, because I was going to say, like, the birth of Ella was so amazing, but then also so was Lulu, so we can't divide it, so we'll take the wedding.
Right. Yeah. Did you design the whole thing, the whole day? Was that all you?
I did. It was a bit ahead of its time, too. It was like
Why is that not
pink and
surprising?
roses and
1000%.
peonies and cherries on the table.
Oh
And,
my gosh.
and we had God Only Knows by the Beach Boys sung a cappella in the church.
Oh, wow.
That was cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
It was really cool. It was,
you
a great
just-
day. It'd be so good to do it again. Everyone left at 4 a.m.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so cool.
It was good.
What is
Hang
it?
on. And
I'm so sorry.
No, I did not get an answer.
Yes, he said wedding day.
Oh, you did
Yeah,
too?
He did. He said it
My
first.
only thing was that we went straight away. I think the next day, and I think you want to, after your wedding, you want to sort of be with some friends for a few days to relive it a few
That's true.
times.
So we could do that
probably
this time.
Yeah,
We
let's
did
do
exactly
that
the
next
same
time.
thing. We did not. We left the morning
After.
We left it. Yeah, straight at 5
With the
o'clock. We were
cans,
out. We
you
were
know,
like
banging out.
2 hours in the hotel. We're staying
Yeah.
at the Park Hyatt.
I thought that's
in
what you were
Sydney.
meant to do, and then
Same.
come to find out that
Yeah.
people like do like wedding weeks and
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
have
I
breakfast
like
with
that
everyone.
wedding
I was
week
I like that
scenario.
idea
That's
too.
cool,
Yeah.
you know,
Didn't
'cause
know
it's
that.
such a
We left straight away.
We did.
Oh,
We did.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
rookie moves, guys.
Definitely rookie first
Very
timers,
young
hey.
moves, I tell you. All right, what is it about your relationship that makes you feel grateful?
Oh, so many things, but he is my person. I'm so grateful to have a person, just to actually have a person. And my big focus always in our relationship is end game. I call it the rocking chair factor, because I think when you are old and you are tired and you are frightened, that's when you need your person. And to actually have a person, I feel very grateful for that, because I'm 52. It's like the rocking chair's in the distance, and I feel really grateful to have a person.
And I'll probably answer that a slightly different way. We're going out dancing tonight, which we love to do together.
What sort of dancing?
Are we going to a club on Oxford Street called the Palms?
It's
Just
a
play
Christmas party.
Hear me do some unts dancing.
with we're whipping out sort of 80s and 90s classics, basically. It's more than
We are,
that,
though. This is a true story.
We'll
We're
be pulling
going to a
out
nightclub
sweet
at 10 at
moves,
night.
Betty. Don't you worry.
At 10 p.m. at night, but we're going.
That is, I love that you dance.
Yeah, he
Saxon.
can dance.
We
He
love.
can
Actually,
dance.
we'll dance around with the kids at home all
Yeah.
the time, and we love it. So
We do.
Fantastic.
Crank up the
Are
stereo.
you grateful for me being a great dancer?
Yeah, you are a freaking good dancer, so I'm lucky.
So you dance till you get all sweaty? Like in the
Sometimes.
like really wet shirts in the
Well,
the disc.
sometimes.
Yeah,
he
my
can-
radiator's sort of slightly off, so I can be like the real sprinkler.
So is the Palms is that a dance place that happens all the time, or this is a Christmas party?
No,
with
we are
dance?
going to a Christmas party dinner, and it's a old club on Oxford Street in Sydney, and it's a totally inclusive. Like, was a gay club, now just so inclusive. They play old. I mean, honestly, guys, go. Take your kids.
We have to
and
go. This is why Al's asking.
Come with
She's
us.
like,
Exactly
Come
why
ask.
Yeah, she's
We'll
into it.
We'll take you.
I
Let's
will-
do it.
You won't get me off the dance floor,
It's
Paula
so
Joye.
fun.
So
They
guys-
play Kylie. They play Madonna. They play like
There's Depeche Mode and Soft
everything.
Cell and Howard Jones.
And it's like exactly. And it's just everybody there. There's nothing intimidating about it. There are people our age.
Yes.
There are people younger, and it's just got that wonderful, which only like the LGBTQ rainbow community can give
Yep.
to a space.
Yep.
Which is just inclusive and beautiful.
But I'll tell you that the last time we went there, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, it was about 3 a.m. We stumbled out of there and we're walking down a...
Three. Like, stop trying
Well,
to sound
what it was
cool.
pretty close. We're walking down a side street and I hear this, Dad? And I'm like, Ella? She was coming home from another club and we're like, bloody hell, this is weird.
Let's go get a souvlaki.
That's so cool. I think that makes you cool, Dad. I love it.
That did happen, but it wasn't 3.
I think it was about 4.
Yeah.
Come on, let's just
Oh,
get
you're right.
it up, babe.
The birds are up. Yeah.
The sun was coming up. I love that. That's
What do you
awesome.
miss when you're not together?
Him.
Probably all of our chat. I mean, we love walking together, all of our chats. We've had 2 weekends apart the last couple of weekends, so we're kind of almost... What's that when you don't have booze for a few days?
Detox.
The DTs or something.
Oh.
So it's all like,
Delirium tremens.
So
God.
it's nice to spend this weekend together after having
Yeah.
had 2 weekends away, which would just never ever happen. So
No. We spend a lot of time together, so I just miss your presence around, you know. You do, you know, you're annoying sometimes too, but I miss that annoyingness.
All right, last question. One word to describe each other.
God, that's when we need a notice of some of these questions.
No time to think about.
I don't know. You're so interesting. You're so interesting.
Interesting.
What am I going to say? I think, I'm thinking all of those lovely words, wonderful and whatnot. But I think love for me.
Thanks.
That's so
This
beautiful.
is where we're supposed to cry now, man.
You've broken us.
You guys are awesome.
Oh, we've only
The
just
joy people.
I know. We've only just scratched the surface.
know.
There's so much that,
Yeah.
that you two of you bring into the world, and it's so lovely. I was so excited to have you in the bathroom. Paula,
we were thrilled to be
I
here.
know.
And
I
Saxon,
know.
now that you've had your first podcast recording, how do you feel, mate? You all right?
Let's go again. Let's do this back to back,
Let's do
baby.
it.
Come on.
Part 2 coming up.
Oh, well, thanks again.
Thank
you
you
for
so
coming
much.
in.
Yeah,
Thanks for
good luck
sharing.
with the
been a
book and
treat.
everything that you're doing. I mean, I know you
you.
just keep reinventing yourself too, Paula. Like you pivot and you turn, you've got something else coming here and there, and it's just I love watching what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
And yet the name, I just love your last name. It suits both of you so well. It's just fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you for having us
Thanks.
so much.
Yeah, our
Cheers.
pleasure, truly.
It's a treat.
I love Paula Joye so much.
Do you remember
She's-
when you first met her?
I do, yeah, I do. I mean, and just to sort of, and we have so many mutual friends, of course, back in the day. But she's all class. She's all class. Like the way she dresses, her style, like how her home is, just who she is. I love her Instagram, like her funniest things. We didn't get to talk about this, but one of my favorite things she does is she does commentary on like the Met Gala or the dresses that you wear to Emmys, and it's just the best. She's hilarious. Highly recommend you follow her.
She
on
doesn't take
Instagram.
the piss, sort of thing.
She does she does a little bit when it's necessary.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she's just sort of got a great view on stuff.
And she tells it how it is, though.
Oh yeah, totally. But
Right.
she's not mean, but she's just she's
Well, I can't
awesome.
imagine her being mean because
No.
also when I love what they were talking about with manners,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
a nice
and
one.
how important that is. And I've never actually heard that it's said that manners is the way in. You know,
Yeah, that it opens doors
Opens
to
doors.
everywhere.
Yeah.
I love that.
it is true though.
It's true. Yeah, I never thought of
and I'm
that though.
very grateful to my mum and dad.
Yeah.
You know, and my grandparents because they were sticklers for it.
And you will be invited back with good manners, won't
Yeah.
you? That's the other thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just thinking, I'm not so happy about my grandma when she used to walk behind us. We'd go for dinner at her house, and if you're slouching at the table, she'd put a fork in your back.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Sit up straight.
That's
Shoulders
nice.
back. Jeez, Connie, what are you doing?
Yes.
At the table.
What made you sit up straight?
Absolutely. But yeah, there was no slouching at the table, you know.
And of course, I mean, we can't not mention Saxon and what a lovely fellow he is. And they really are. They're really in love, those two. Been together a long time and still very much in love.
And he's doing amazing things,
He
clearly.
is. He really is.
With the food innovation.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And we're going dancing.
We're going dancing with them. I'm thrilled.
Love it. All right, that's it from us.
Thanks for listening.